Today, like every other day, we wake up empty and frightened. Don't open the door to the study and begin reading. Take down a musical instrument. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Today, like every other day, we wake up feeling lost, confused. Don't open your laptop, check the headlines. Take down a cello. Hello, I'm Eugene Friesen, and I have to kind of imagine your generous applause, just like I have to imagine being on the beautiful Chautauqua campus today. But I'm grateful to have this platform to be able to introduce myself and my music to you. I started off the program with a poem by Jalaluddin Rumi, the 13th century Sufi mystic. The English versions of these poems by Coleman Barks have made Rumi the best-selling poet in the English-speaking world. And I've had the chance for the past 25 years to perform with Coleman Barks in concert, improvising music with the words of Rumi as well as Coleman's own poetry, in an experience that I have come to regard as profound as playing the music of J.S. Bach. From Rumi, I went right into my piece Shadow Play, which showcases the original pizzicato playing technique that I've developed. And speaking of techniques, I'll be using some electronics in the presentation today. In addition to everything required just to record this, I'll be making use of a looping device, a foot-controlled recorder that allows me to record an accompaniment and then play a melody over it. I also have some other sounds stored on the looper that I'll be introducing into the music at various points. I hope I've made it clear that the beauty I love is the cello. But of course, that's not all I love, because really the cello is only the vehicle for expressing the love that I feel. Being in nature, the love I have for my children, for my partner Liz, my students, for music all around the world, so much in life contributes to my desire to make sounds. And I've thought a lot about where those sounds come from and about what music is and how music speaks through us. What I've learned is that music speaks in a language that has a completely different kind of precision than words do, and that the mind understands. The mind that understands the workings of music, the theory, the techniques, the history, the style, is not the place to be when you're actually making music, to creating expression, to communicating with the hearts of other beings. The part of our mind we engage when we study music, the judging and evaluating faculties so important to improving our skills, need to be quieted, need to be stilled when we create music. In moments of music making, everything we've learned is at the service of something deeper, something bigger, and more mysterious than anything we can understand with our minds. Jazz players call this being in the zone. And it's Black musicians we have to thank for reintroducing this vital and creative energy into our kind of Eurocentric way of teaching music. Jazz reminds us that improvisation and composition was once the focus of being a musician, that creating music was a living response to contemporary life, fueled by inspiration, by contemplation, by grace. Being in the zone, this state of grace where music seems to be playing itself, has happened to me when improvising. And the music that I'll be sharing with you today has all come into this world through this unpredictable process. I had a chance to play in a magnificent museum, the Miho Museum in the mountains above Kyoto, Japan. I'd been given access to record my cello in this incredible space designed by I.M. Pei, a museum, but also a kind of temple of art, a place with a decidedly sacred feeling, built into a mountainside with such sensitivity, such inspiration, that the museum seems to be part of the mountain. Since the museum is open to the public during the day, we spent 6 nights recording the cello, dusk to dawn. And every morning as we left the museum, we heard a distinctive birdsong in the woods, the Japanese bush warbler, that quickly became our kind of companion song for the project. As this song, the bird song, rang in my memory, it seemed to call for this music. And I've come to regard this piece as part of the mountain in the same way that the Miho Museum is. This is called Voice of the Wood. I'd like to play a brand new piece for you, something I'm currently working on. Like most of my music, it's about half improvised, different every time I play it, though the beginning and the ending are kind of set. The piece is inspired by a social program in Zimbabwe, because there, faced with rising depression and an almost absence of mental health counselors, the health minister devised a simple program that has been amazingly effective. They organized a network of grandmothers to act as designated listeners. These grandmothers were set up on benches, on orange benches called friendship benches, scattered throughout communities. In Bantu, depression is called Cofungi Sisa, thinking too much. And that's the title of this piece, in which my improvisation aims to imitate the dialogue and healing properties of companionship. A few years ago, I fell asleep one night with the radio on in my room. And I woke up in the middle of the night because there was a sound in my room that I'd never heard before. It was a voice, but it wasn't a human voice. And I lay there in the dark listening to this strange music. And at the end, the announcer came on to say that it was the song of a humpback whale. I had never heard anything quite so strangely beautiful before. And some of the sounds reminded me of the sounds that a cello can make. And so I promised myself that I would try to meet a whale in person one day, and I did have a chance. My longtime colleague, Paul Winter, band leader, composer, collaborator, invited me to Baja, California, where the gray whales come in the month of February to give birth to their baby whale calves. We went out in this sparkling bay in a little rowboat. We'd been told there were a couple of dozen whales in the bay, so we knew we'd see one because, of course, they're not fish, they're mammals. They breathe air as we do. And before too long, way off in the distance, we saw a whale come up. And with a great spray, she let loose all the old air in her lungs, took in fresh air, and disappeared under the water. And even from a distance, we could tell she was huge. And I'll never forget what my friend on the boat said. He said, "Whoa." He said, "You know, an animal that big could blast this little boat to smithereens. You do realize that, don't you?" So we were kind of thinking that over, wondering where that or some other whale would come up next. And we were totally stunned when a mother whale came up right next to our boat. Came up so close, I literally could have reached out my hand and touched her. But the way she came up was so slow, so graceful out of the water, that we didn't feel frightened or threatened or anything like that. I think she was just as curious about us as we were about her. But something about that moment of eye-to-eye contact with this massive and massively intelligent creature is something that I will never, ever forget. I didn't get to hear the whales sing on that trip because the gray whales don't sing like the humpbacks do. But I've listened a lot to the recordings of humpback whales and would like to play for you a piece where I kind of play along with the whale, accompanying the whale in a way. I imagined the world of the whale to be a vast blue cathedral. And though that world is being defiled by waste and noise pollution, there are still habitats that are intact. And I believe our role is to protect what beauty we have left. This is Humpback Harmony. I began the program with a poem by Jalaluddin Rumi in a version by Coleman Barks. Coleman's versions of these ancient words give us a glimpse of Islam through images, metaphors, and ideas. And I have found them tremendously useful and usable as inspiration, for insight, and for solace. Here is one of my favorites, Love Dogs. One night, a man was crying, Allah, Allah. His lips grew sweet with the praising, until a cynic said, "So, I've heard you calling out, but have you ever gotten any response?" The man had no answer to that. He quit praying and fell into a confused sleep. He dreamed he saw Kidder, the guide of souls, in a thick green foliage. "Why did you stop praising?" "Because I never heard anything back." This longing you express is the return message. The grief you cry out from draws you toward union. Your pure sadness that wants help is the secret cup. Listen to the moan of a dog for its master. That whining is the connection. There are love dogs no one knows the names of. Give your life to be one of them. One night, a man was crying, Allah. A woman was crying, Allah. Allah. 200,000 years ago, early modern humans heard the most amazing diversity of sound in wild Africa. As we hunted, camped, and fished, we imitated the movements, the voices, the rhythms, and interactions of the animals that we shared the forests and grasslands with. The way animals share a sonic space have become a kind of blueprint for our basic concepts of rhythm, composition, and orchestration. And the way they coexist in diversity really has inspired our harmony, our counterpoint, and our polyrhythm. We developed our languages of music, dance, and rituals from mimicking the orchestra of animals all around us. Languages completely apart from words, and languages that mirror human and animal activity with far more precision than words can. This is my ode to that. It's called My Africa.